Good evening. It's Facebook Love number 298 in a series where I show up intermittently with no warning. I'm going to read a poem tonight that I've been wanting to read ever since she released it after the Uvalde shooting. It's called Hymn for the Hurting by Amanda Gorman, because it's an important piece, and I do want to read it. But I also want to say that in this last week or so, in our own little world, we have had a great sense of renewal and belief in the beauty and love and kindness of humans. There's a lot of thunder, so you might hear that. One of our cats slipped out very late at night a couple Fridays ago, and we couldn't find him. And he was gone for 4 nights and almost 4 total days. And through a combination of putting flyers in mailboxes and posting them on electric poles and using Nextdoor and Paw Boost and reaching out to all the shelters and my entire network, my family walked and walked and walked this neighborhood, and we got him back. And that sense of people caring about our own little tempest in a teacup really fed my belief in the goodness of the world. But we still have to confront and act. So I want to read this piece by Amanda Gorman, and then I have a Mary Oliver that is maybe slightly less comforting and a little more salty, because I feel the salt and I taste it. Okay, Hymn for the Hurting by Amanda Gorman. Everything hurts. Our hearts shadowed and strange, minds made muddied and mute. We carry tragedy, terrifying and true, and yet none of it is new. We knew it as home, as horror, as heritage. Even our children cannot be children, cannot be. Everything hurts. It's a hard time to be alive, and even harder to stay that way. We are burdened to live out these days, while at the same time blessed to outlive them. This alarm is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, that we must triumph or try. Thus, while hate cannot be terminated, it can be transformed into a love that lets us live. May we not just grieve, but give. May we not just ache, but act. May our signed right to bear arms never blind our sight from shared harm. May we choose our children over chaos. May another innocent never be lost. Maybe everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, but only when everything hurts, may everything change. Hymn for the Hurting by Amanda Gorman. Whenever I hear people nattering on about their rights, to do this and to do that, I go right back to an elemental question that was part of my wonderful, salty liberal arts education at the beautiful, tiny liberal arts college of Monmouth College in Monmouth, Illinois. Shout out to all my classmates. Our elemental question for our class for the 4 years was looking at the difference between freedom and responsibility. And it seemed sort of obvious and cut and dried as an 18-year-old, and by the time I was 22, it felt much deeper and richer, but life hadn't dragged me around too much yet. I'm certainly feeling drug around. We must remember that we are a community, even when we don't want to recognize the people who are our community. Because you know what? Too bad. We share this planet. We share the air and the trees and the soil. We share our choices between violence and continuing to talk when it's tiresome and difficult and feels like nothing can be solved. So having my community help me find my cat, my Atticus, reminds me that it's possible. Here's a piece from Mary Oliver. It's a little bit shorter. It's titled, "A Dream of Trees." There is a thing in me that dreamed of trees, a quiet house, some green and modest acres, a little way from every troubling town, a little way from factories, schools, laments. I would have time, I thought, and time to spare, with only streams and birds for company, to build out of my life a few wild stanzas. And then it came to me that so was death, a little way away from everywhere. There is a thing in me still dreams of trees, but let it go. Homesick for moderation, half the world's artists shrink or fall away. If any finds solution, let him tell it. Meanwhile, I bend my heart toward lamentation where, as the times implore our true involvement, the blades of every crisis point that way. I would it were not so, but so it is. Who ever made music of a mild day? A Dream of Trees by Mary Oliver. I think about the message there at the end. As a writer, as a singer, as someone who crafts stories, the place I go when I write is almost always instigated by something very deep, something painful or tremendous. That's what I have today. This is Facebook Love. I'll see you again. Bye.